Hi everybody, it's me, Jamie of Jamie's Hook, and guess what? It's yarn review time! Okay, so the yarn that we are going to review right now is going to be the new Red Heart, the Yarnspirations Red Heart Super Easy Stripes. Okay, so apparently this is a new yarn out of the Red Heart line by Yarnspirations. So, if anybody knows me, I am not a fan of Red Heart. We'll say Super Saver, and I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a little bit of a snob concerning that. You know, even though I buy a lot of the big box store yarns, I really am not a big fan of the Red Heart Super Saver because simply just because it is just I feel it's so rough, but it has gotten better over time. But I'm not usually a really big fan of Super Saver yarn. But this is not Super Saver. This is the Red Heart Super Easy Stripes. And so I'm going to give you my honest review on this. So buckle up, here we go. Alright, so for fiber content, this is an all acrylic yarn. It is not a premium acrylic. And so what would someone say? What is considered a premium acrylic? Honestly, it's just simply how smooth and soft that it really is. I I wouldn't call this a premium acrylic. It's not rough, but it's not exactly super soft in my opinion. It's just an opinion. Some people would really like it. Me, not so much. Um, but that's just as my opinion. Take this with a grain of salt. It does have some pluses um, that I think it would really work out. Um, so this is a bulky 6. Is that what this is? Yes, it is a bulky 6 yarn. So I'm on a journey of working with bulky yarn because I am legally blind. Okay, I'm not totally blind, just legally blind, which means I see pretty okay. Just not very good far away. You know, like I can see up to about like 5 feet in front of me pretty decently. So um, I was working with some 4-ply yarn recently, and it was very proving to be very difficult for me. So I really decided right then and there, I'm just going to start working with bulky yarn. So I'm on this bulky yarn kick right now. So anyway, so just to let you know, um, we're going to get it back onto track. Okay, so the yardage on this bad boy is, let's see here. Okay, so this is 189 yards, which is 173 meters. Okay, so this is also a 7-ounce skein, which is 198 grams. Okay, so my first impressions, of course, I already gave you some of them, and so softness, it's 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 not bad. It's like it's not like scratchy or anything. I really don't think it's scratchy. It's kind of squishy. Um, I would probably say that this is definitely, as to coin the phrase by Crystal from Bag a Day, it is scarfable. Like you put it against right here or on your forehead, you know, on your cheek, your neck. It doesn't itch at all whatsoever, and it's pretty decent. I got some of the fibers on me. Um, so yeah, it's not so bad. Um, it's just not my favorite. I've been spoiled by premium acrylic. I know what it feels like, and that's just me, you know. Um, let's see, color options. Okay, so the color options. Um, there's only what did I say? There was. I know that for there's solids, and I think there's more yardage for the solids, and then this is the stripes. So this one's the stripes. The stripes has less yardage, and that's usually the MO for most yarn if you have a stripe. It's usually less yardage. Solid's definitely a lot more. Um, let's see here. Now, I just looked a few minutes ago. I know for the stripes, there was 8 colorways. And this colorway in particular is called the Raspberry Blush. Is that right? I'm reading it upside down. Yes, Raspberry Blush. And the reason why I picked this colorway because we are so close to Valentine's Day. And when I purchased this, I was still planning on maybe potentially doing a Valentine's market or a February market because Valentine's falling on a Saturday this year. And so, therefore, I just don't think it's going to be prudent to do a market for me. For me. And usually the market that I do for Valentine's Day for 2 years in a row, usually it's an outdoor market, but for this particular market, they put it indoors. It's a smaller space. Of course, the cost is cheaper, but you don't get the organic traffic. And I've lost money every time I've done this market. This one in February. And then I was also talking to the coordinator, and she's like, well, I already have a lot of crocheters for this market. And I was like, you know what? Let's just skip it this year. You know, usually I tell my customers at this particular market that I'm at every month that I'm here every month. And this time I'm just not. I've only skipped one market like that for them. Well, technically 3. Um, Back, not this past summer, but the summer before, I took a couple months off because, it was just hot, and I needed a vacation. I went camping. Um, but anyway, let me get self-situated here. Okay, so let me take a look down here. Okay, and so the cost for this, I actually purchased this off of Herrschners. If you're not familiar with Herrschners, they do have a brick and mortar store. They have one in Wisconsin, I think is where it's at. I'm not sure where in Wisconsin, but I think it's in Wisconsin. And but they do sell online, and I got this within a week. And I got this on a special. If I had $35 or more in purchases, I got free shipping, and I needed to up my purchases because I just didn't want to pay for shipping. I just, if I can avoid shipping, I will. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. I looked at it and I was like, okay, I'm going to try it out. So anyway. Okay, so on Herrschners, it cost me $9.99, and I just looked on Yarnspirations and how much it costs on Yarnspirations. It's $10.99. So Herrschners actually sells theirs for a little bit cheaper than the actual yarn company that produces it. So I think it's a decent deal. I mean, you get a lot of yardage. Most bulky weight yarns that you purchase are usually in 100-gram increments, and you just don't have a whole lot of yardage. And so I think yardage-wise, this is great, you know. So I'm looking forward to doing something fun with this. Okay, so the recommended hook size that I used um, the recommended hook size for this item is an 8mm hook. But I don't own an 8mm hook. If I do, it's probably in a hook I don't use. Usually, so what I do use is I have Clover Amore hooks, and then I also have these resin hooks from Hobby Lobby. Okay, and I haven't tried it with this one. I do have the 6mm Clover Amore, which is the largest Clover Amore hook that I have, and I actually did make a little crocheted heart with it, and it worked out great. I think this yarn will definitely make a good amigurumi, but honestly, because it's not super soft, I don't think it's going to be as attractive or amigurumi, because most people who like to use amigurumi, plushies, things like that, they usually want it nice and soft. And this is not a plushy type of yarn, but I really can see how you can turn this either into, like, if a hat if you want, or I'm thinking leg warmers. Like, instantly I'm thinking leg warmers. I think really pretty, fun leg warmers would be great with this. You can probably even do a scarf with it for sure. Actually, on the ball band, there's um, a pattern for this scarf right here, and it says you need like what, like two balls? Yeah, it says like you need like two balls right there um, to do this scarf, and I think it's doable. You know, or you can make a basket with it. Anything like home decor, like it would make a great pillow. That would work it quick. You know it would. Okay, so I haven't done anything with this acrylic hook right here. I think it's acrylic hook. I really kind of like these. They're not bad. It works really good with very slippery yarn. But this yarn is not really that slippery, so I'm not sure how well it will do. Now, last night when I took this ball band off, I slipped it right back on. I was frogging out just a little bit. Okay, I had to stop recording for a second. But as I was trying to say, as soon as I took off this ball band, there was a big fat knot right there. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is right out of color change. Are all the color changes going to be like this? And I don't know yet because I have not worked with this yarn any further than this little crochet heart. So we shall see. I am going to work on this with the resin hook, resin or acrylic hook. I don't know. What do you want to call this? Anyway, I'm going to work on it with this and kind of give you an impression how it feels with this and see if it feels grabby. I'm going to assume that it does feel grabby, and I'll let you know. Okay, so I just did a very basic granny square. This is where that color change was at. So this was interesting. It was a little bit grabby, but once I got into the motion of crocheting, it got easier. And I realized it got easier because when we transitioned from this darker color to this lighter color, for some reason the texture of the yarn was easier to work with the lighter color than it was with this darker color. It didn't grab as much. And I do find this to be an issue with a lot of acrylic yarns, that when they take on color as they're dyed, sometimes it changes the texture of the yarn. And so sometimes I find that the darker colors have the tendency, or a more vibrant color have the tendency to be a little bit more grabby. I guess, I don't know how you would describe that. You know, it just, you know, maybe a little firmer, a little bit more grabby. It just changes the texture of the yarn. And although I really do think that this would make a great, again, a great home decor, leg warmers, um, mittens. Mittens would be great for this because it's soft enough for your hands. Um, you know, I just don't think that it would be that bad. Um, you know, again, you know, these are the kinds of things. But I do feel like since this is not a premium acrylic, I think because, and I can tell by looking at it and working with it, because it's got a little bit of a halo to it, just a slight one. But if you have anything that has a slight halo to it, which is like a little fuzziness to it, it's going to pill. Okay? So premium acrylic does not pill, usually, because the way that it has been processed and is treated, it's going to have a way smoother texture. So, but honestly, I think this is, you know, for the price, I think it's on par with other brands, because, you know, it's over 100 grams per skein. I got it at a really decent deal over at Herrschners, as opposed to the original home side of Yarnspirations. Um, I really can't find a lot of fault in this yarn. Now, would I buy it again? Nah, probably not, because, I'm a little bit of a snoot when it comes to, acrylic. But I'm glad I tried it. Now I know what I don't like and what I do like about it. I think this would be a great beginner yarn. I think, it wouldn't be half bad. I'm glad I tried it. I like to try things several times before I write it off and say I just don't like it. So I'll try it a few times, and maybe in the future it'll be better. Maybe it'll be a nicer yarn in the future. Maybe if it's on sale, I'll grab it. I don't know. But yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with this one skein. It's not bad. So I say take it with a grain of salt. Figure out if you like it or not. The value on it is good. Um, I think it would be great for, like I said, home decor or anything like that. Um, even outdoor items. Yeah. So I do recommend getting it. Um, if that's if you like it. I think it's gonna be a really cute. I think it's a really cute colorway. Um, I don't know if once I get past this brighter color, when it transitions to the darker color, that's going to be another knot. Usually what I do is I will snip it and just rejoin it later on because I usually don't like those big old knots. But I just kept it on there because I was in a hurry. But not too bad. I think it would be better if I had a hook. Um, this was, like I said, it was a little bit grabby. With the Clover Amore, it just slipped right on through. But what I do like about these types of hooks, if you can see right here, it's got a longer, they call that the throat. So the throat of, how deep the hook is for um, the, the hook and everything. And so it really grabbed the yarn really well. Like it pulled it through really well. And I didn't have a problem with splitting. So, it's a decent yarn, for just your basic acrylic and it being super chunky, not half bad. So, anyways, you know, um, so yeah, I'm probably not gonna buy it again, but I don't say don't buy it. Like if you're, if you want to make something with it, sure, go for it. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, um, so thanks for hanging with me and exploring out, this yarn and figuring out, uh, what to do with it. If any of y'all have any good suggestions, or if there is a particular yarn you want me to try, and now granted, I would prefer to use a chunky yarn at this point, but if you want me to do a yarn review on a particular yarn, please let me know. I'll see if I can find it on Herrschners or whatever the other um, stores that there are. Herrschners has a really good variety of different products from different companies. I really do like them. I do recommend them. And so, anyway, thanks guys for watching. I will see you guys later, alright? And I'll talk to you later. Bye.